Hello everyone, hope you all are doing amazing. So today's video is about loops. In case if you have not checked my previous video, which was about the basics of C++, which include basic skeleton of C++, then data types, which included different data types, which I covered integer, floating point, string, character, long, double, etc. Then how we are doing input, output in C++, C in Cout. Then conditions, if else if, nested if, and switch condition. So and this is basically whenever you have given, either you have to follow if particular condition met, you have to print something, so conditions are done. So today I will be covering loops, which is a for while do while loop, followed by I will be covering all the data structures like array, string, etc. Okay, so okay, so let me give you a task. Like, okay, so my previous program was take a number as input and print it. It is very simple, right? What I'm doing is I'm taking some variable in number, then I'm simply giving input to that number and outputting and just printing that number using like this, right? What if I say print 10 numbers? What you will do in such cases, you have to take 10 different variables. Number 1, number 2, number 3, so on up to number 10. Still, it is doable, right? What if I say take an input of in 100 numbers and print them? Or take inputs of 10,000 numbers and print it? What are you going to do? It is really time consuming, right? Just to take a user input and user output, we have to literally write 1,000 and 10,000 lines of code. So here, lot of steps are repeated. Every time what we are doing is declaring a number, taking that number as an input, doing that output. So aren't we doing this part repeatedly? So when we are doing repeated steps, that is where we should consider the concept of loops. Okay, so the first loop which I'm covering is for loop. So for is having this skeleton was 0, let's say make it 1, less than equal to 10, I plus plus. Okay, so here something I'm printing. So this is a in basic structure of for loop. What it includes is, it is an initializer. Initializer is where the for loop should start, this condition. So what I have done is I have declared a variable is I. You can declare any variable. Let's say I wanted to declare it as a number. Anything you can declare the way you want. But in standard way, everywhere we see whenever we are using for loop, we are using variable I, j, k. It's a standard term. So I'm using I here. This is the condition. This is a condition because this is the initial value of I. At what step this I should go? The condition is as I is greater than 10. It means it is saying I value at any point of time should be only less than equal to 10. Then only I am entering the body of this loop. Okay, at any point of time, my I value is 11. I'm not entering the body of the loop. Let's say my I value is -1. Obviously, I'm executing this part. Something is there here. Hi, right? So let me write higher. And this is the increment. This I equal to I plus 1. So we are having first is initializer, that is I equal to 1. You can give any initial value of your variable. Then this is the valid statement. Valid statement, it means this condition should be in such a way that at some point of time, it should break this loop. It should be false at some point of time. Because if it is not false, this loop will keep on running. Okay, I will explain you how this loop will keep on running. Okay, Then we are having something called as I plus plus. So we have initializer, then condition, then we are having something called as I plus plus, which we can say increment or decrement. This I plus plus is equivalent to I plus plus is equivalent to I equal to I plus 1. Okay, it means you're incrementing the value of I by 1. So whenever the entry of this for loop has started, I equal to 1 initially, it is checking, hey, whether my this 1, is it less than this value that is 10? Yes. Then I am entering the body of the loop, executing set of code, then I'm incrementing the value of this variable. So initially it will be 1, then it will be 2, when it will next time it will be 3. After that, when it reaching 10, after reaching 10, I'm doing the increment by 1, it will be 11. So that time the value of I will be 11 and it is checking, hey, is 11 is less than equal to 10? No. So that time it is executing out of this loop and it is returning 0. Okay. So just remember one thing, in order to run this code properly, it should return 0. So let's say if I'm giving this condition, something where this loop is continuously running. Let me simply run this code, what it is doing. Let's see. So it is printing high 10 times. Let me simply remove this so that you will see high by 10 times. Okay, it has printed high by 10 times. Now what I'll do is I'm just printing the value of I, right? So it is printing initial 10 numbers. Okay, so let me give something called as 100. And here instead of indel, I'm just giving some thing like this. Because just to understand you, so you can see it has, this code has printed initial 100 numbers. If you have to print them, you should write C out 100 times, is it? And take the input of those numbers. So those repetitive tasks are avoided here. Now I told why this should be a valid break statement. Let's say I is less than equal to 100. As it is I value is reaching 101, you're coming out of this loop. But let's say what if I'm giving condition is I should be greater than 0. It means this at any point of time, initially I will be 1. You're doing increment for after every iteration. It will run till infinite. So I'm not going to run this code, otherwise my system will hang and again I have to restart. So that is the reason your condition should be always some valid break statement. And also you should give a valid increment as well. Let's say I'm not giving simply increment. So again, it is going to run, let's say the same condition is there. I is less than equal to 10 and I'm not giving any increment or decrement. So in this time, every time the I value will be 1, again it is running the infinite loop. So it is really necessary to increment and decrement. So basic skeleton of for loop, initializer, condition and increment or decrement, right? So take a number as an input and print it. So I'll make it as take 10 numbers, 10 numbers as input and print it. So what I will be doing is, see in, for that we need a concept of array. For now, what I'll do is I'll just write int array of 5. I will explain this in upcoming videos. Okay. Is then equal to 5. Okay. A of 5. Same thing, I'm taking it here. and I'm running it. 1, 4, 7, and I'm printing all the numbers here. You can see here I have given 5 numbers and I'm printing. Okay, so let me simply give 10 numbers. Okay. Let me print it. 1, 2, 30, 40, 50, some numbers 56, 78, 3, 6, 8, 9, and okay. So you can see same numbers which I have printed here. So it is printing initial 10 numbers. So let me do one thing to explain more about for loop. What we'll do is we'll do increment and decrement both, right? Clear cut the for loop concepts. So what I'll do here is I'm and okay, I'm running this. So basically here what I'm doing is I'm imprinting initial 10 numbers from 0 to 9. I can change the condition anytime. Now let's say let me print all these numbers in reverse order. Okay, so my initial number should be 10. Here my initial number is 0. Okay, so if I run it right now, my initial number will be 1 here. So my initial value will be 1 and it is going up to 10. What if I wanted to print it in a reverse order? Obviously, my first number will be 10, then it will come 9, then it will come 8, so on up to 0. So can I say something like my initializer will be 10 and my last number is 0 or last number is 1. So it should be always greater than equal to 1. And here I'm decrementing the value. Initially, it is an incremental order. I'm incrementing the value of I from 1 to 10. So for 10 to 1, I have to decrement it. Okay, so when I'm doing it, let's see how it will be. Yeah, I have printed numbers in a reverse order 10 to 1. Okay, so let's say we can do something with the for loop, like let's say I wanted to print multiples of 8. So it should be something like 8, 8, 16, 24, 32, so on up to, let's say 80. So my initial value will be 8. So I can say is I equal to 8. I should be less than equal to 80. Then here I should, in order to get my next value at 16, what we are doing is every time we are incrementing I by 8. So what I'll do is I equal to I plus 8 and I'm printing it. Okay. It's a infinite loop. Just let me check it. I equal to I plus 8. This is the condition. So when I'm running it, I'm printing multiples of 8 till 80. Okay. So again, this is a initializer. This is a condition that this variable value should not exceed 80, which is not exceeding 80. What if I say it should be less than equal to 100? That it means the value should not exceed 100, right? So it is coming up to 96. And at every iteration, how many times you are doing either increment or decrement? This is for this. Okay. Then we have, I guess we understood the concept of for loop. Then we have something called as do while loop. So let me comment it out. So, okay, for single line commenting, I'm using double slash. For multi-line commenting, I'm using this slash star star slash. Okay, so we have something called as do while loop and while loop as well. So there is another way of writing this for loop. Same thing I'm writing, but in another way. Okay, so I have something called as, let's see, I'm declaring I, which is equal to 8. Same thing I'm writing, not 98. While I is less than equal to 100. So while it's something like, first it is checking a condition, this value of I, whether it is less than equal to 100. If yes, then it is entering the body of the loop and executing set of statements. And inside that, somewhere you have to write an increment or decrement or some condition, which will at some point, it will break this loop. It is really necessary to break the loop, otherwise it will be running infinitely here and will never able to come out and return 0. Okay, so what I'll be doing is, see out, same code I'm writing, multiples of 8, no changes. Okay, then I equal to I plus 8. So yeah, same code I wrote with the help of while loop. So this is another way of writing for loop, where this is the initialization. Then you are checking for a condition. If condition is true, then only you are entering the body of the loop. Why 8? Let me print multiples of some other thing. I wanted to print multiples of 15. And here I'll give some condition as 150. I equal to I plus 15. Right? So these are multiples of 15. In this way, you can change the loop the way you want. Okay. So now we have something called as do while loop. Okay, it is similar to while loop, but only the difference is, here what we are doing is, we are checking the condition first, and only if the condition is true, it is executing set of code. In do while loop is, first it is executing a code once, and after executing code once, it is checking for a condition. Okay, so let me write it. Let me comment it out here. Okay, so do. Let's say I'm giving same I equal to 15 here. Then same set of code I'm giving here. Okay, I equal to I plus 15. While the condition is I is less than equal to 150. Okay, followed by semicolon. Again, this is running. What's the difference between while and do while? I'll tell you. So let's say I'm giving some value as 160 here. Okay. So the condition is the value should not be greater than 150. It should be always less than 150. Okay. So in this case, if the value is greater than 160, what it is doing is, it is printing one time, and after that it is incrementing the value. After incrementing, it is checking the condition. So if I run this, you will get 160. But same thing, if I'm doing, okay, same thing if I'm doing in case of this while loop. Okay, so let me simply copy it here. Let's say my value is 160 and I'm running it. Then it is not printing anything because I value is 160 and here it is checking the condition. Hey, whether my I is less than equal to 150? No, 160 is not less than equal to 150. It is greater than 150. So this condition is false. That's why this part is not executed. Definitely it come out of the loop and it returns 0. So we understood today the concept of for loop, while loop and do while loop. So in upcoming videos, we'll deep dive into different data structures. In next video, I will be explaining the concept of arrays. So thank you so much.